Hello there and welcome back to Brainify TECH. In this tutorial we're going to take a look at Excel formulas for beginners. If you're just starting out with Excel formulas, then this video will give you a solid and complete understanding of what they're all about, how to use them and the rules for constructing them. We're going to take you from mastering the most simple and basic formulas and fast track you into being able to handle the most complex formulas you're ever likely to need. We're also going to throw in some tips and tricks along the way for good measure. So let's crack on. An Excel formula is a user-generated calculation used to calculate numerical data. You're basically making your own maths calculation up using your mathematical brain. It's pretty much the same as using a calculator, where you punch in a number followed by a mathematical operator. Mathematical operators are the signs that you use between the numbers, like add, subtract, multiply and divide. So a calculation like 1 plus 2 has just been given the fancy name of a formula. One thing you do need to remember is that unlike when you write a simple calculation on paper, such as 1 plus 1 equals 2, when you type in that same calculation into Excel, you need to make sure that you start the formula syntax with the equal sign, making it equals 1 plus 1. This is to let Excel know to calculate the numbers that follow the equal sign and not just display what you type in as a text string. The word syntax, by the way, just means the structure and order of the parts, numbers and operators that you use to build your calculation or formula, as opposed to the actual answer value that your formula produces. If we select cell A3, you can see your answer value displayed in the cell, but the syntax in the formula bar above. If you're confused by all of this so far, don't be. It'll all become crystal clear very shortly. So let's take a look at how all this formula stuff works in practice. At the most simple level, Excel formulas can be used as just a fancy calculator. If you need to add together 47 and 59, but your brain just ain't working and you don't have a calculator handy, then just chuck it into Excel. Select cell A1 and type in 47 plus 59 and press enter. Well, that's not right. Instead of the answer, it's just showing the text version of what we typed in, but we want Excel to do the actual calculation for us. Remember what we said before? We need to start all formulas with an equal sign, which tells Excel that we want it to actually do the calculation and not just display it like text. Select cell A3 and type in equals 47 plus 59 and press enter. That's better. Now cell A3 shows the correct answer of 106 and not the syntax text. Okay, now you know how to create simple formulas using user-generated calculations. Now let's take a look at creating simple formulas based on cell references. Instead of inputting your own numbers into the formula, such as the 1 and 2 in the formula equals 1 plus 2 that we just saw, we're now going to use the raw numbers that already exist on a worksheet to calculate some totals. We have a simple set of data showing the marks for students. Columns B, C and D contain some different subject marks out of 10. In column E, we need to add in the totals for each student by adding together all three of their subject marks. There's two ways that we could do this. The first way would be to select cell E2, add the three numbers up in our head and type the answer of 24 into the cell and press enter. That's a pretty tedious and manual job. What if we added up the three numbers wrong? Then the value in E2 would be wrong. What if we had to change the mark in cell D2 for Dave's science mark to 9 instead of 7? The total in E2 would be wrong and we would need to recalculate it every time any raw data changed. Let's change D2 back to 7 and clear the contents of cell E2. What you should do is select cell E2 and type equals, then select B2 with your mouse, type in plus on the keyboard, click C2, plus, D2, then press enter. You can now see the correctly calculated result of 24 in E2. You could also just type in the cell references instead of clicking on each cell, but by clicking it makes sure you don't make any silly typing cell reference errors. If we select D2 and change it from 7 to 9 again and press enter, you can see that this time the value in E2 has automatically updated to 26. Let's change the 9 back to 7. Using cell references to produce values that update automatically if any underlying data changes is a huge advantage of using Excel cell referencing, and one that you should always try to take advantage of and use. Okay, now you know how to create simple formulas based on cell references. Let's move on to editing formulas. Let's continue with the worksheet from before. In case you didn't know, the Excel window has a status bar at the bottom. If we select cell A5, the status shows as ready. As soon as we start typing hat into the cell, the status changes to enter, indicating that we're entering data. If we press enter to deactivate cell A5, then the status returns to ready. If we double click back into A5, then the status changes again to edit, indicating that we're in editing mode again. Okay, now that you know that, let's edit a formula in a cell. Let's select cell A3 where we previously entered the formula equals 47 plus 59. Remember that we see the result of the formula in the cell, but the formula syntax is shown in the formula bar. If we want to edit the formula in cell A3 and replace the number 59 with 61, we just double click into A3 to go into editing mode. Notice that the content of the cell automatically shows the formula syntax for editing and not the value anymore. Change 59 to 61 and press enter. At any time that you click into a cell with a formula and enter edit mode, and then place the cursor at a point in the syntax that can be amended with another cell reference, Excel thinks that you want to add in another cell reference into the formula. So if you then click on another cell, then Excel will try to incorporate that selected cell into the formula, which is probably not what you want to do. Let's see this in action. Double click into cell A3 and place the cursor after the equal sign, and then click on cell C3. And you can see Excel is trying to include C3 into the formula. To exit the formula edit mode without making any changes, just press the escape key. We can also edit the formula syntax in the formula bar, which also removes the previous editing error possibility. Select A3 and click into the formula bar and change the formula syntax from 61 back to 59 and press enter. Okay, so now you know how to edit formulas properly. Let's take a look at automatically copying formulas that we create to other cells. We'll carry on with our previous student marks worksheet. We finished up by typing in the total formula into cell E2. If we need to copy down this total formula to cells E3 to E10, then we can do this quickly and easily using the fill handle. Select E2 and you'll see a small box in the bottom right of this active cell. This is called the fill handle. Hover your mouse over it until the cursor changes to a small black cross, and then grab the handle and drag it down to cell E10 and release. The formula from E2 has been copied to all of the cells below, but Excel has cleverly changed the references of the cells that it's adding up to pick up the numbers from the correct rows. If you double click into E3, you can see B3 to D3 is included, and this is the same for all of the cells below in column E. Let's delete the contents of cells E3 to E10. An even easier way to do the same thing is to select E2 and just double click the fill handle, and the formula will be copied down automatically to all of the cells below until the end of that continuous data array. Let's take a look at the color coding help that Excel provides automatically when you're building and dealing with formulas. Let's put the formula back into cell E2. Equals B2 plus C2 plus D2. But before we press enter, you can see that every cell reference in the formula has a different color and the actual cell is outlined in that color. Let's press enter and then select E2 again. This time, if we click into the formula bar, we can see that the color coding is shown again. This automatic color coding helps you when you're building your formulas to confirm that you're using the correct cell addresses, and it also helps you if you need to edit or debug errors in any formula later on. Let's move on to everyone's favourite part and take you back to your school maths class, mathematical order of operations. Don't be put off, stick with me here. It will definitely be worth your while and save you heaps of time in the future from creating formulas that just don't work. You already know that mathematical operators are the signs that you use in calculations like addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. So far we've looked at very simple formulas using only one operator, the addition sign. When you move on to building more complex formula that use more than one operator, then you need to know which order Excel calculates the parts of the formula to produce the correct result. If you put them in the wrong order, your answer is going to be wrong. Excel uses the age-old PEMDAS order of operations. You can remember PEMDAS from the mnemonic "Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally." P is for parentheses, E for exponents, M for multiplication, D division, A addition and S subtraction. Parentheses are effectively your normal curved brackets, and exponents are your powers like squared and cubed. The order that Excel executes the different parts of a formula moves from left to right. So, if your formula contains any parentheses, then that part of the formula will be calculated first, with addition and subtraction calculated last. Notice that multiplication and division are at the same order level of 3. Neither have a priority over the other. If you have both a multiplication and division in your formula, Excel will just work from left to right within the formula, and whichever one comes first will be calculated first. The same goes for addition and subtraction, as they are both equally in fourth order. Let's take a look at how these orders work. This worksheet shows worked examples for each of the operator orders. Let's look at the parentheses example first. We have a multiplication and parentheses in the formula. We also have an addition, but since it's wrapped in parentheses, it's calculated first, with the multiplication second. So the calculation breaks down to 2 times 7, which gives the answer of 14 as shown below. Exponents. We have an addition and exponent, but calculate the exponent first. This gives 1 plus 4, which equals 5. The division example contains division and addition. Division comes first, so we end up with 3 plus 2, which equals 5. The multiplication example is similar to the division. Multiplication first and then the subtraction to give 13 minus 6, which equals 7. The next two examples include operators at the same order level, so Excel calculates them from left to right, giving the final answers of 3 and 6. Let's round off operator orders with a quick practical example of how it can all go wrong so easily if you don't observe the correct order. We're back to our student marks worksheet, but this time we want to calculate an average in column E of the 3 marks that each student got. So we need to add up the 3 marks and divide by 3. Dave scored 8 for all 3 of his subjects, so we already know that the correct answer should be 8. Nice and easy. Select cell E2 and add the formula equals B2 plus C2 plus D2, and then divide that by 3 and press enter. As you can see, the answer is wrong. Let's double click into the cell to take a look at what went wrong. We wanted to add up B2, C2 and D2 first and then divide that result by 3. Instead, Excel, in line with PEDMAS, calculated the division first, i.e. the 8 divided by 3, and then added 8 and added the other 8 to that answer. An easy way to fix this is to simply enclose the addition part of the calculation in parentheses, which will be calculated before the division part. Let's add a parenthesis before the first 8 and after the last 8 and press enter. Now we see the correct result of 8. If you're ever stuck with wrong order calculating formulas, then adding parentheses in the right places usually solves many of the problems. Let's go back to the student marks worksheet where we entered formulas into column E to total up each student's marks. At the moment, by default, the values are shown in the cells in column E and the syntax in the formula bar. There are times when you may want to show or print your formula syntax in the actual cells on your worksheet instead of the values. To do this, click on the Formulas ribbon tab, and on the Formula Auditing panel, click on the Show Formulas command. Your syntax is now shown. Click it again to return to showing the values in your worksheet cells. Okay, so that rounds off this tutorial on Excel formulas for beginners. I really hope this video has given you a solid foundation in formulas and you now have the understanding and confidence to build and use formulas correctly and avoid some of the pitfalls of creating more complex formulas. If you found this video helpful, then please hit the like button below this video. If you would like us to make any specific Excel videos, then let us know in the comments below. If you're interested in seeing more Excel videos from Brainify TECH, then please subscribe to our channel below. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.